Hello again, everyone. I hope you're doing well on this Friday afternoon. Ariel Helwani being joined by UFC bantamweight Jimmie Rivera. We haven't seen Jimmy fight in a little over a year. He was supposed to return to action back in February. Unfortunately, had to pull out of his fight due to an injury. So I wanted to catch up with him and see how things are going. And I understand he has a few updates for us. So first off, Jimmy, thank you very much for the time. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm just busy, very busy. A lot of things going on, but fully back into training, teaching some online classes, and hoping that we open up soon. And you know, staying busy. I'll tell you that. How about you?
I'm doing really well, thank you, and I'm glad to hear that you are busy in this crazy time. Let's get the new news out of the way, if you will. I understand that you had a battle of your own with COVID-19. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I had it in April, and you know what? I tell you the truth, Ariel, I didn't have it that bad. I mean, we weren't training at the time because everything was closed down. It was just brand new with the COVID. I didn't have it bad. I had like 3 bad days, and then I was fine afterwards. But then at the same time, I do work out all the time. I actually worked out. I had the signs of, some of the signs were like, diarrhea and stuff like that. I had some of those signs and lost the smell, and all of a sudden, like, I just woke up one morning, was fatigued, backache, couldn't even get out of bed, just felt like. And the night before, I was working out, running, and lifting, and because we weren't training, we weren't open yet, so I was just doing stuff on my own. And I had 3 bad days, but I recovered quick, and I just assumed from being healthy and fit and taking care of myself and working out all the time. But where it really hit was a couple weeks later, my wife got it, and that was really, really bad because she has immune deficiency. So she was really bad. She had a dry cough, and she had everything put it
Wow.
towards this. But it was a very slow process recovering. We actually, she had a few bad days. So once she had some energy, my my mother-in-law is an ICU nurse, and a lot of doctors were saying just get up and walk, do something. So I would get up with her. We would walk a little bit, come back, relax. When she fell up to it again, a couple hours later, we would walk a little bit just to get her lungs going because that's what it taxes your lungs. So the biggest thing was, being in shape. Now I work out all the time. Even when I was hurt, I was just doing what I can cardio wise, running stuff. So my lung capacity was way different than hers, who she works out 3 or 4 times a week, but she's not a professional athlete like I am. So we dealt with it, and eventually we got out of it, and she felt better, but it took some time. So when that happened, we the headquarters just kind of opened up, and we started training just the fighters, the professional fighters. So I had to take a lot back. I wasn't able really to train as much as I wanted to because of that, because of her being sick and having to take care of her at the time.
So did you have to spend any time in the hospital?
No, we didn't because it didn't get so severe.
Okay.
So it wasn't, and they weren't, believe it or not, some hospitals weren't taking, unless you like, it was very severe, you couldn't breathe at all or anything like that, then they would take you in and put you on a vent. She was not at that. She got close to the point and she had a hard time breathing and catching her breath, but she wasn't severe. Like it was just some hospitals you had to be like, there was certain criteria you had to fit in order, even to get tested. I heard mixed reviews, but even to get tested, like if you have like one criteria, like no, you have to have a couple things
Right.
for you to get tested. So I got tested, when I felt like crap, I got tested, once I had some energy. By the second day, I went to my doctor, sat in my car, they did the test and all that, got it back the next day. They said I have it. And my doctor was like, take Tylenol for the fever and lots of, vitamin C. That was it.
Hmm.
Same thing with my wife when she was sick, Tylenol for the fever, vitamin C. But I had her get up, and when she felt better, we walked because that was what her mom was saying the best thing to do, a cardiologist and all that. So we're like, all right, let's go. Let's go for a little walk. Let's just nice and light walk down a couple blocks and come back so she could feel better. And she beat it. I mean, I going into it, everything I've seen and all the research and talking about it and having it myself, the biggest thing is that you have to be active. You have to take care of yourself. Right now, we're in, they're still in kind of lockdown. And what we're doing in Tiger Showman's is we're teaching online classes so people get a workout at home.
Hmm.
So we're teaching all our students online so they get a workout at home. I'm hoping that we can open up soon and obviously be safe with the guidelines. Like, my physical therapist, when I go, one of the places I go, Edge, that takes care of me, they have what's it called? A thermometer, one of those radar ones. Right
Hmm.
away, I walk in, they do it, I'm good. I walk in and I go get treated. So we've have all these precautions of the right cleaners for our schools that we already stock up on, Purell, mask, and keeping the bags. We moved all the bags, and all the classes would be bag classes, having them 12 feet apart, some 6 feet apart, depending on how people want to wear masks and stuff and fit into the criteria that New York and New Jersey are giving us. We're basically ready to open up. We're just waiting for the green light so we can open up, so people can come in and take care of themselves and be fit. Because out of everything I've seen in all the interviews, all the research I read, and all the online articles, the biggest thing, the biggest way to fight this is just being in shape, take care of yourself, eat right, and make sure you're in shape, and you can fight it.
I'm just curious, when you start to feel better, do you get a second test to make sure you don't have it anymore?
I did not. I asked my doctor about that, which is funny. He's like, you would have to get the blood test for the antibodies. So I did put our names down. You know, I put my name down, and my wife put her name down when she was out of that 4 week uh, period where she felt better, and you have that like 2 week period where you're not contagious anymore. So they say that when you get sick, right away when you feel it, once you have no symptoms, this is what I last heard. I mean, it could change. What it last heard, once you have no symptoms, you have 2 weeks of a period where you still should self isolate.
Yeah.
After those 2 weeks, you're not contagious anymore. Now I don't know if that's changed or not. With my doctor, I just told him like, let me know. I'll go in and get my blood so they can use it as plasma and help someone that's in need, that's in bad shape, that's on a ventilator. There's been different things I've heard about the ventilators that they do work, they don't work. The biggest thing I've seen as a precaution, as something you can take yourself, is obviously work out and eat right. And the other thing is, getting your lungs moving. It attacks your respiratory. So if you're just sitting in bed all day, you're not really, expanding your lungs. So they made people at the hospitals breathe. At least I know with my mother-in-law, to breathe and to expand their lungs and doing breathing exercises. So this way they get their lungs working. You think about, you're in bed, you're relaxing, your lungs aren't working, you're not doing anything all the way up until I had I felt Thursday morning. Once I woke up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, those 3 days, I didn't do anything. The following week, all I did was me and my wife would take long walks until she eventually got sick, and then it was very short walks, but I was doing like long walks, like for 5 hours a day, like just walking miles upon miles, or just keeping, afterwards, after it wasn't, after I felt better, just walking and keeping my cardio, my lungs, and then slowly turned into, jog, and I just kept doing some cardio. So this way, you know, I wasn't gonna, fall backwards if something did happen or anything. I'd just keep myself going.
Uh, Obviously, back in April, I spoke to your teammate and friend Lyman Good, and he revealed he was the first UFC fighter to reveal that he tested positive as well. Do you think your story is related to his? Meaning, did one of you catch it from each other?
Yeah, I think we were both at the headquarters, and he was just training at the time, getting ready for his fight, and he was working with our coach Ron, and Ron and I and one of the guys were working on doing videotapes. So I think we kind of transmitted it through doing like some online videotapes for our students. So I think I kind of basically got it from that, and I didn't have it right away, but then a couple weeks down the line, I felt it, and then I had it. And I mean, I've heard worse cases from my mother-in-law, so I wasn't worried. But when my wife got it, that's when I got worried, because like I didn't have a cough, like a wet cough, but I didn't have a dry cough. I didn't have a hard time breathing. My symptoms were like a backache for 3 days. The first day was a fever and fatigue. The second day was a little bit of fever on and off, and just a backache. And the third day was a backache. And then after that, the fourth day, I was completely fine.
Just curious, and I know this may be a tough question for you to answer, but since you've experienced it and a teammate of yours experienced it as well, as you know, the UFC is putting on fights now, right? They've been putting on a bunch of fights since May 9th, 87 total. And in total, 168 fighters have competed. Only one officially on those cards, Jacare Souza, tested positive.
Yeah.
Conversely, the NBA announced today that they just tested 302 players and 16 tested positive. So that's around 18% as opposed to like 0.005%. Are you surprised that more fighters haven't tested positive?
I think when it comes to the fighters, I mean, I think nothing against other sports at all, but you have to be in such a good shape when you go into a fight. And I think a lot of the guys are in really good shape. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're able to, even if they did have it and they come back, they come back negative when they go to fight or whatever, let's say they did have it and they didn't talk about it. I mean, they're going to recover quick because they eat right. We eat right. We take care of ourselves. We have to work out all the time. Even when we don't have a fight coming up, we work out and we train. We do something for working out. We're just kind of set like that. We're trained like that to work out and do something. Even when I go on vacation, I always make sure that the hotel has a gym so I can at least do a little lift and a run. If there's a school close by, I'll call them, see if I could hop in and do some classes. I think we're just trained like that, and we're trained to eat right. I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't eat perfect, but when we're in a fight camp, we eat right. So I think that's a big, big cause of it is that a lot of us are working out all the time and training if a basketball player has to be this cardio wise, we're at here cardio wise because that's one of the big things we learn fighting is that you got to be in good shape. If I'm in better shape than the other opponent, I could push the fight. I could win even if the other guy's better than me. Most people have that mindset.
Prior to testing positive, did you have a fight lined up? Like I said, I know you were supposed to fight in February.
So
Um,
the UFC wanted me to reschedule Chito Vera at the
yep.
end of June. I said I'll take the fight. I haven't been able to train because of what's going on at home. So they were really understanding about it. They said no problem, and I'm supposed to fight him August 8th. So I'm just waiting for the contract to come in to sign it, and I've been training for the past 3 weeks, getting ready for him to train. And I believe it's August 8th. That's what they told me. August 8th, when they come back and from Fight Island, they come
Right.
back in August at the Apex Center to fight in Vegas.
Do you like that fight?
Yeah, man, it's a tough fight. I saw his last performance was Song Yadong. Love
Yeah.
saying his name, Song Yadong. Yeah, it's a good fight, man. I just want to get in there and fight. It sucked being hurt. Fortunately, I dealt with some like this on and off, and it just got worse. And it was kind of good to get some recovery time because I was trying to fight in November, and I was back training, and then I tweaked it, and I was like, I'm okay. And then they brought the fight in February. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then as we got closer to the fight, it got worse and worse. It wasn't getting better.
Was it a
So I was
neck
just like,
issue?
listen. Yeah, I got pinched nerves in my neck, and
Wow.
they shoot down, so I lose feeling. Like I can't sleep on my sides. So
Wow.
when I sleep on my side, I wake up because my arm is numb, and I have to get on my back. I'm not a stomach sleeper at all, but I have to make sure I'm on my back. So people don't realize what's fighting. There's a lot of wear and tear. It's just as much as wear and tear as almost as I want to say it's the same as football. You know what I mean? Because you're doing the same stuff. I mean, you could make one mistake. Like the other day I was training with one of my guys. We're sparring. I kicked his front leg, and his other knee kind of gave out. And all of a sudden that night he couldn't even walk on it. And now he's out for a couple weeks. He doesn't even know what he did. It wasn't even the leg I kicked. It was the other leg, which I mind boggle how that happened, but it just kind of gave out a little bit. But then he was fine. We still sparred. He still sprinted afterwards. And then all of a sudden, nighttime, it felt weird and it was hard to walk on it. And then we woke up in the morning, could barely walk on it. And it's like one of those things you could just do something simple. You know what I mean? There's been plenty of times like wrestling. One of my teammates, not gonna name who it is, but they have a fight coming up. They're like they go and they tweak themselves and they hurt their hip. It just happens. You make one little wrong move or you try something and you realize you didn't commit to it or whatever. You tweak yourself and you're hurt. And hopefully it's not that bad where you could get recovered in a couple days.
So no surgery needed, at least not now.
I mean, I don't know if I would ever get neck surgery. I know one
Right.
of one of my colleagues, one of the instructors that owns a school, he's got neck surgery, and his surgery was unbelievable, but he tells me everything he's going through, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to do that. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm scared. I'm scared. Like, all right, yeah, fix my knee, fix my arm or something like that. Surgery, yeah, okay, but like it comes to your neck, like that's a scary spot for someone to come in and put a knife through and do whatever they got to do. So don't really know about that. But I've been rehabbing it. I've been good, been training, feeling really good, and I've just been watching it and doing exercises to take care of it.
And so the last time we actually saw you compete was over a year ago now, back in Chicago in June of last year against Peter Yan. Now, by the time you come back, it'll be around 14 months since your last fight. How has this been on you? I mean, I know that you make a good living at the school with your gym and students. So has this been a strain for you, or maybe has it been nice to kind of reset and take the year off?
Um, I mean, the one thing at the beginning of the year was nice to kind of take that time and recover. So that's been nice. I've wanted to be busy, but even after the Yan fight, I ended up getting surgery on my nose, so I needed to take time off anyway
Mm.
because I ended up, my nose was deviated, but then I also had some other issues with like my sinus and breathing. So going into going into the Yan fight, I actually had like 95% blockage in my nose. Couldn't
Oh,
breathe.
geez.
So I was so happy. I mean, the UFC put it up the other day. I'm like, oh, that's great. But when he kicked me in the face, he shifted my nose over, and it was perfect because I got to go and get surgery and have the UFC pay for it to get my nose fixed, which thank
Uh,
you, UFC, for taking care of that. But I got it fixed. Now I can actually breathe through my nose. I don't snore at night anymore. I'm like good. When I started my Yan fight camp, um, I was probably like maybe like halfway through the camp. I just started my camp and I'm already at that halfway point. Like I'm already 10 times better and able to breathe a lot more than when I did the Yan fight. It's just completely night and day how my cardio has just changed even more. So I'm excited to have a new nose and go out and fight.
And you had that amazing run where you won 20 in a row, right? I believe it was off the top of my head, and then things just kind of hit a bit of a roadblock for you, and now it's 3 of 4 that you've dropped. How do you get back on track? What do you make of this? This little stretch here. Why has it taken a left turn?
Well, you know what? I've learned mistakes. Like going into the Marlon fight, I didn't do things I should have did for training. Fighting Dotson right afterwards, I did exactly what I needed to do. Going into the Sterling fight, I tell you, it's my fault. I had a bad weight cut, really bad
Mm.
weight cut, and I went. It's like, and people can relate. If people work out or other fighters, it's like you don't sleep the night before. You wake up that day, you have to do your sparring rounds, and you just like you have to do something, but you just can't get it out because you're so tired. That's what happened when I weight cut. I didn't recover from it, and then with the Yan fight, he called me at the end of the first and the second where I was just kind of coasting, and instead of fighting to the bell, I kind of tried to coast that, and I got caught. So I learned from it, and then I moved forward. That's one of the things we're working on. It's like there's 30 seconds left, 10 seconds left, keep fighting to the end. Just like you saw my teammate Shane Burgos when he fought Josh Emmett last weekend, awesome fight. But in the third round, he just kept coming in. It's his mentality, just keep coming and keep fighting. And where I think I would coast a little bit and be a little cautious, he has a different mentality. So one of those things I was looking at and what I could fix from the on fight was like, all right, there's 10, 15 seconds left. Don't coast. Keep fighting.
Mm.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep in the action because anything can happen. And fortunately, I learned the hard way. I lost like 30, 40 seconds of a 15-minute fight with Jan, but it was a good learning experience. It just made me better. I mean, Jan didn't finish me. Jan's finished all his other guys. He's fighting for the belt. If he beats Aldo, I just think I look 10 times better. When people look
Mm.
at fighting Jan, I think I'm going to be one of the fights they look at of how I fought Jan. I mean, he says he's a good boxer, but I made him miss a lot, except for 2 shots.
Do you,
3,
you think
one
he
round kick.
do you think he wins that fight? Are you picking him against Aldo?
You know what? So it's so hard to pick. I love Aldo, and just being outside the box and as like a coach, you want to say
Yeah.
Aldo has the experience, and I think he'll still have a more of an edge because now it's not his like first fight at 135. It's his second fight, and we fought Marlon Moraes. I thought Aldo won that fight too. It was very controversial. Could have went either way. So like I've actually thought he won. He had ring control. He was going forward. He was landing more shots. I mean, Marlon landed significant shots, but out of the shots that Aldo was landing, you know, he was landing more. Jan, he's just, he's a young guy. He's used to fight at 135. The only thing I could take away, like I'm 50-50 right now, is just because I didn't see the old Aldo when he fought Marlon. I didn't see those leg kicks, those crazy combinations he throws. So I'm not sure if he was just getting a feel at 135. So I'm really excited to see in 2 weeks, what happens and who wins that fight. Like that's huge. At the end of the day, I'm really happy that the division's going. What I mean? That makes it even more want to come back and fight. It's because now we're going to get it going. People not hurt. We keep the division going and moves in 135. Just watch the fights a couple weeks ago with, Cody and Sound O'Malley, Wineland, and Sterling, and even Sandhagen. That fight was Sterling Sandhagen. I couldn't believe Sterling went in there and just finished it that fast. I was shocked. I thought it was going to be like a long fight. It was going to be a grind fight. And it's just, it's an exciting division. You had 3 fights at 135 that were all finishes. And I think it's just a really exciting division. There's so many good people in the top 15.
Speaking of O'Malley, before I let you go, just curious, because I've seen him and Cheeto going back and forth. Any chance that they give that fight to him, or are you pretty confident that you're getting Marlon Vera next?
I don't know what's going on. As far as I've been told that I'm getting the contract for Cheeto Vera, and I've been training for Cheeto Vera for the past 3 weeks or month now. So, Cheeto wanted to fight. Sean wanted to fight, and I'm like, all right, let's do the fight. Let's make it happen. Unfortunately, it was bad luck. I got hurt in February, and I couldn't do the fight. And I was, it's nothing against me. I just couldn't do it. But when Sean said they wanted to fight, I'm like, all right, like I just need some time to train because this is the stuff that was going on in my life, and I just needed to have time to go in there and give some time to train. And they understood it, and so I'm like, I'm ready. Let's do it. I've been training for it. I've been working with tall guys. And looking forward to the fight. So I assume I'm getting the fight. I don't know what's going on there. I'm not, you know me, Ariel. I'm not a big trash talker. I just like going there fighting. Like with the Jan fight, like I didn't talk. We beat the out of each other, out of the fight. And we walked out, shook hands, and it was fun. I don't understand what he says because it's in Russian or whatever. But yeah, man, good fight. Like whatever. Thank you for kicking the nose. So I got a new nose job. That helped out. I really appreciate it. I feel like, who was that? Mike Perry or something like that? They were saying, break my nose. Yeah. So, but besides that, I hope it happens. I mean, I'm ready and getting ready, and I'm targeted for August 8th. I'm in great shape. I'm feeling great, man. I can't tell you how. Feeling great with no injuries. Feeling great because I could actually breathe for once. And I'm only a couple weeks into the camp, and I'm like where I ended in my last camp. So my cardio is it just feels good to actually be able to breathe out your nose.
Well, Jimmie, I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better. I'm glad to hear that your wife is feeling better, that everyone is feeling better. It was great to see Lyman back. I know that he was disappointed that he didn't win, but it was just good to see him back in there after his battle. And
such a close fight. Such a close fight.
The same with Shane as well.
Yeah.
Tremendous. So I hope we get to see you back in there August 8th. That's a great fight on paper. It was one, like I said, that we were supposed to get back in February. And it's going to be good to see you back in there because it's been over a year. So thank you as always for the time, my man. I appreciate it. And good luck in training as you prepare for August 8th.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.